What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NFL rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. Apologies for the delay. We had lots of stuff going on this morning, but we're here, we're live, and we're ready to get into the NFL review and then, of course, a preview of Monday Night Football. Titletown, how was your weekend and how did the NFL treat you?
Weekend was very interesting in the DFS streets. I came out making some money thanks to the best receiver in football, but I don't even know how long I can keep saying that. Devontae Adams came in good ownership, absolutely smashed. But again, I don't know how long I can keep saying that because that man on the other side right there, he's slowly creeping up to number one in Justin Jefferson. What a treat we had in Minnesota with those two going back and forth. But hey, I made some money. I played Josh Allen over Mahomes, which was also part of the reason. But I think I ran Piers, as we say. I ran Pier to make some money, so I'll take it.
All right. Tyler, how was your weekend? How did the betting treat you? I know that we got our teaser home, but some of my other leans, I was on the wrong side. Pretty happy for that teaser, even after we got NBA'd, right, with the news that Lamar was out. I was pretty upset when I sent you the message. We got that one home. How did the NFL weekend treat you?
I mean, it was a pretty boring NFL week for me. I didn't see much I liked on the board. I literally only made 2 bets and went 1-1. Josh Allen forgot how to use his legs running, and all we needed was McCaffrey to get in the end zone. But other than that, I mean, I'd have rather just stayed in bed all Sunday, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, you've been out there working hard. You know, Tyler and I just grind all day. You got the other job too, so we appreciate all the hard work you put in and all the winners that you give us. Let's jump in to a quick review of what we did see yesterday. So the first one, I already alluded to it, the Ravens. I was pretty upset, Tyler, when I sent you that message. Because Lamar got scratched and we had assumed that he was going to play. They got it done on the back of Tyler Huntley, nicknamed Snoop. Pretty cool, right? I remember the first Snoop that came out. Now there's kids called that. I love it. Devontae Freeman, of course, had a nice game. Andrews as well. And on the other side, Fields got knocked out. We saw a little Andy Dalton action. What were your take with the Ravens title? Like, were you impressed with the win? I personally was.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a good win. They came back late in the game. This was one of the games where, like, I watched Red Zone, and I have a couple screens that I watched. This definitely was not on one of my main screens, so I didn't get to watch the whole game. But I mean, Darnell Mooney on the other side, how explosive that guy is. He could be a lot of fun when they got a good offense. The Ravens, they found a way to win. Played good defense. Huntley drove them down the field when he had to at the end of the game. So definitely a big win without Lamar. I mean, 7-3 compared to 6-4, like that means a lot. So congrats to the Ravens. Nice job, Huntley, as far as watching it and all that. I mean, I didn't do that much. It was not a game I was very excited about.
Yeah, well, Red Zone wasn't either because like I did the same thing, and they weren't coming up very often on there. To be fair, 16-13, not a big surprise, but always good for a team to get a win without its starting quarterback, right? To me, that signals this is a solid, well-coached team, and we already knew that about John Harbaugh and the Ravens. With the Bears, I mean, I just wrote down, Tyler, what were your thoughts on the game and the Bears? I mean, they just got to blow everything up in the offseason, right?
Yeah, I mean, blow everything up, fire the coaches, probably draft another quarterback because I think Fields stinks. They need a whole new offensive line. But I didn't really watch much of this game because no Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's just going to be a boring game, and that's pretty much what it was. What was it, like 6-9 going into the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
And then they started scoring the touchdowns.
7-6.
Yeah.
7-6 Bears.
Yeah, so that was just boring game. Didn't watch much of it, so I don't have much of a take on it.
No, and that's fair. I don't think a lot of people did. Let's move on to another game you guys probably don't have. It was pretty boring as well. Lions and the Browns here. Lions, are they going to win a game? What do you think, Title? They keep
I'm
letting
gonna
these
say
opportunities
yes.
slip by.
I'm gonna say yes and hope because they've been so close multiple times. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hope they get one. They've played some teams competitive, but I mean, you can't win a football game when your quarterback throws for 77 yards and 2 interceptions. Like, you can't win in the NFL like that anymore. So, I actually watched less of this game than I did the Bears game because I feel like I didn't see this game pop up on Red Zone once, except DeAndre Swift's run. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Another boring one.
Yeah, Scott Hansen and crew, we're not happy with that either. Tyler, any takeaways from this game? I mean, so the Browns, they get the win, but I'll tell you what, I mean, you can't really be too excited, right? I mean, this team is Chubb or bust. Do you really think this team is still a Super Bowl contender?
No chance. I mean, just all the injuries killed him. Baker's like half dead out there. So they don't have
I don't see why he's not resting. I mean, they should have been right. Look what the Ravens just did. They should have been able to beat the Lions with a backup quarterback, right?
Yeah. I mean, that Lions team's bad. They should have got their win last week, but I don't think they're getting one this year.
Well, they get the Bears this Thursday. That's a great opportunity, right?
Yeah, if Goff plays, if it's still Boyle, I don't think they win.
Yeah, Boyle. Hopefully Goff gets back for our sakes, actually, because I'm sure that you guys will all be watching that out here on the West Coast, right? That's the one that we watch before we eat, and then we'll probably be eating about halftime of the Raiders game. So I'm hoping to have a good early morning game, right? That's when I like work out and like build up my appetite, right? You got to lift some weight so that you can really put the food down. But yeah, really not much to talk about in this next game. In that game, but let's move on to the next game because I think this game was fantastic. It was fun to watch, and I think it had great implications on what we can do for the season. And I'm talking about the Vikings finally winning a close game. They finally got through on a close game, right? They had fallen short so many times. This makes them a sneaky 5-5. They beat the Packers. The Packers are 8-3. Let's talk about the Vikings. We'll start with them. Title. They finally get it done. I think this is a sneaky dark horse team to get in the playoffs and maybe get an upset, right? I don't know if I'd want to play them. They'll probably be on the road, in that first round because their records can be hard to get a home field game in the first one. But hey, this Vikings team is sneaky. And of course, we all love Justin Jefferson. What do you think? I mean, we ought to just keep upgrading this team, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it a lot on this show. Their record is very deceiving. They could be a lot better than 5-5. When you got Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen, I mean, you can win football games with talent alone. Kirk Cousins, he didn't make mistakes yesterday. Justin Jefferson, man, I've been on that train as early as anybody, I think, and he just keeps impressing me. This guy is just a complete stud. You can win with guys like that when you just throw it up to him one-on-one, and he's the one that's going to come down with it. Huge win for the Vikings. That disappointing as a Packers fan. I thought we had that interception right away. Correct call, though, at the end, and then they drove down. But I don't know what to do with the Packers. Usually I have a good read on the Packers. I don't know what this defense actually is at the end of the day. So I have no clue.
Well, you queued me up, and I'm going to direct this one towards Tyler. We said before this game, this was a referendum on this Packers defense. Don't necessarily think they passed the test here, giving up 34. What were your takeaways from the game? And, probably we can hold off like at least a week or two before we move them into the elite defense realm. What were your thoughts, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. It just seemed like neither defense could really stop either offense. Other than I think that was an interception at the end of the game, but it is what it is. And just like Richie Small said in the chat, they didn't catch Cousins' mistakes. He just put them in places where the defense couldn't get them. So he did make his mistakes, but I mean, I still think Green Bay is the better team, and Minnesota is definitely going to get one of those wild card spots, I think.
Jair's out too, so it's not like a fully healthy
Is he coming back though this season, or are we analyzing them as this way for?
Oh, I thought he was gonna.
I thought he was too. So that's a good point. But if he's out for the year, then we can go ahead and just analyze this defense moving forward. So yeah, I thought it was disappointing, mainly for the defense. Defense that we were ready to crown top 5 and put them in the elite category. We're gonna have to hold off now. To be fair, giving up points to the with the new rules, of course. So let's already say these rules are 80% slanted towards the offense, and then a high-powered Minnesota offense. I mean, it's not the kiss of death, but definitely, I'm sure that Packers and their fans would have preferred, because if they would have held them to 14 or 17. Right, I'm ready to crown them and put them up there, with the very best defenses in the league. Still a very good defense, but that will be something to keep an eye on as they move forward.
LaFleur said optimistic by the end of the end of the year. So it's actually, who knows? He's out. He hopes that he's going to return. This defense, I mean, it's night and day if you get a Jair, and because I think Stokes is a stud too. Kevin King on the other end, that's a huge piece for him. But I guess it's not for sure.
Okay, well, and here's my thing. They really only need him for the playoffs. I think they can make it to the playoffs, have a great – but once you get to the playoffs, that's where they'd really like to have that shutdown guy back because it makes creating the schemes for going against other high-powered offenses, right? You're not going to get any gimmies once those playoffs start. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, especially if you are a Packers fan. This next game, I got to say congratulations to Tyler, right? I'm loving the Titans, right? Waving my Titans flag, right? Buying a Mike Vrabel jersey, wearing it around the house. and they finally let down. So what were your thoughts on the Texans versus the Titans, Tyler? That the Titans finally hit the skids.
Yeah, I mean, they were down Jeremy McNichols, which it really isn't a giant piece. But when you have no Derrick Henry and you lose your second running back, now you just got AP and Dante Foreman. Mm-hmm. A.J. Brown was dealing with the injuries the whole game. Tannehill turning the ball over 4 times. And I also think it was just a big look-ahead spot with the Patriots on deck. So the Titans didn't play very well, but they managed to put 22 points on the board and win the game. So we'll take it.
Yeah, now, Title, we've said, for a couple of weeks, hey, the Titans seem pretty good. They might be playing above their heads a little, and Tyler said, hey, the letdown's coming. I said, I'll wait till it comes. Now it's here. The letdown arrived. Do you think that we see a little bit more of a skid? Because, I think a lot of people, even though they had the best record, no one was saying they were the best team in the FC. They felt that they were, basically everything was going right for them. Do you think the skid continues, or do you think this is just a 1 week letdown?
No, I think it continues. We've been saying on the show, without Derrick Henry, it's just a whole different football team. He makes everything work. They have to stack the box. You have to respect the play action. A.J. Brown now is dealing. Yeah, he didn't even play in the second half or most of the second half. You're down Derrick Henry. Foreman and AP aren't the answer. Foreman looked a little better. AP is definitely not the answer in 2021. 52 times Tannehill's going to drop back. It's unfortunately with Henry, they were absolutely contenders. You play good defense, you can run the ball, dominate time of possession. He's one of McCaffrey's of the world where running backs don't matter too much, but those guys at the top matter a ton. And you lose him, you got no chance.
Yeah, the identity of the team was definitely built around Derrick Henry and his ability to punish opposing linebackers and safeties. So without that, the team is becoming one-dimensional, and so they have to play like a Chiefs-style offense, right? You can make an argument with the Chiefs, every time they hand the ball off, right? They've lowered their expected value, right? But with the Titans, I don't think that they have that same leeway where they can afford to get one-dimensional, and that's kind of what we saw. Now, this game was a surprise, right? Not the fact that the Colts won, right? I liked them to cover when we talked. I said, hey, I think they keep it close, right? I did not think they would blow them out, man. I'm ready. With the Titans, like I said, coming on this skid, the Colts have a serious opportunity to make a run in this AFC South. Title, what were your thoughts on the Colts absolutely blasting the Bills?
They finally did what we've been preaching this whole time, and that's run the football, run the football, run the football, and don't have Carson Wentz drop back 30-plus times a game. Mm-hmm. Carson Wentz dropped back 20 times. He was 11 for 20. Sure, 106 yards, a touchdown. He didn't turn it over. Perfect. You give the ball to Jonathan Taylor 30-plus times a game, this guy's a complete stud. He's going to get you yards. He's going to break plays. That's all you got to do. Run the football, dominate time of possession. Defense played very well on the other side. Man, this Bills team, I love Josh Allen. I play him pretty much every week in DFS. They're just so hit or miss, up and down. They have no running game, which is a big concern. So they're so one-dimensional. And they're defenses like the Colts, they limited the big plays. They make them take the underneath stuff all game. And as we saw with Mahomes for that little skid too, these guys just don't love dinking and dunking down the whole field. They like the big plays and taking the shots and no running game. The Colts absolutely dominated, ran the ball, good defense. As far as the Bills, though, I still love the team. I'm still betting on the talent and stuff, but they're gonna struggle in the playoffs. I think they're definitely not on the top of my list to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about that as well, Tyler. I talked about Tennessee kind of playing above their level. Is that the case with Josh Allen? I'm not saying he's not good, and me and Cheese had a lot of fun with that last year, and I had to eat my words as he just continued to improve. He's kind of regressing a little, and I'm just wondering, do you think that this is he's regressing and he'll move right back to where he was elite, or do you think this is maybe closer to where he was, where he is as a quarterback, and that he was kind of playing above his head for a 6 to 8 game stretch to close the season last year, and then of course start the season this year? What are your thoughts on Josh Allen, and how are you changing your ranking on the Bills? I'll be honest, I knocked him down. Even the numbers are going to tell me to knock him down, and I knocked him down even farther. But I haven't been high on the Bills, so I could be a little bit, I don't know what the right word is. But Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Josh Allen's regressing closer to the normal. I think last year he did play very well towards the end of the year, but I don't think he is that kind of quarterback. I think he's more of he's going to have his big games. but then he's going to turn around and have these games where he turns over the ball a lot. He basically threw 3 interceptions in that game. That one got overturned that they caught on the goal line.
I know.
He's just turned into a turnover machine. Title touched on it. They have no running game. That's been for how many years now? And I wasn't sold on the defense yet anyway, because you look at their schedule before this game, no real high-powered offenses outside the Chiefs, and they hadn't woken up yet. Mm-hmm. So you definitely got to knock them down to your power rankings. I already had about 4 NFC teams ahead of them already. So it's like, how many more spots do we drop them, though? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, how many teams overstep them to take those spots?
Yeah, and I said last week on the show, they were number 1 on my AFC rankings, but I just didn't feel like they were the best team in the AFC, right?
Another thing, Spread. They lost control of that division now. New England is in sole possession of first place in the AFC East. Surprise, surprise.
That guy Belichick, man. Unbelievable.
When they play their second game, do you know where it's at? I don't know the schedule. I can't remember where they played the first game.
Here, I could look it up real quick.
I mean, that's gonna be one. I mean, that's gonna be one hell of a game, especially if it's still pretty close. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah,
they haven't played each other once yet. They play.
Oh, wow.
In 2 weeks, they'll play Monday night, December 6th in Buffalo.
Ooh, that's a fun game.
Then the Patriots go to Indy on the 19th. Then the day after Christmas, they come home to play Buffalo again.
Nice. That'll be
that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, that's going to be fun, and that's a good job by the schedule makers, man. We don't want to see these games in week 2. Let's see them. These teams are fully fleshed out, right? Mac's been developed. We know the strengths and weaknesses of each team. They're going to be much more indicative of these teams' playoff success needing at this point of the year. I can't wait for that. The Dolphins
do you give a better chance at making the Super Bowl right now, the Colts or Buffalo?
Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, that's so like I'm so bullish on Jonathan Taylor. Like I was
about to say, I'm taking the Colts as of right now. I think
I might just because the running game goes so long and dominating time of possession. Like
just dominate the time of possession, run it down their throat. If he throws a couple touchdowns, that's icing on the cake right there.
Yeah, it's tough taking Wentz over Josh Allen, but everything else, I think I'm with you.
I don't think there's much of a difference there, though. I know everyone's going to give me shit for that take, but.
I'm definitely disagree on that.
Josh Allen play this year, he's regressing right back to where we all thought he was.
What do you guys
disagree?
Did you see what I put on the bottom? This is from Signed Collectibles. If you guys aren't watching,
JT, offensive player
Jonathan
of the year.
Taylor, offensive player of the year, is plus 300. And now normally because MVP is a quarterback award, essentially, the skill players have a better chance in this one. Do you guys think that that's worth a punch or worth a ticket at plus 300, or is that just a little too low?
I would want to know Cooper Kupp's odds too, and maybe you just take both of them because I think that's your 2 guys. And that's another thing I forgot to touch on because you brought up MVP. Josh Allen was the sole favorite going into this game yesterday.
Yeah.
If Brady plays great tonight, he's going to be the sole favorite because nobody else has stepped up and taken that MVP this year.
I mean,
with Kyler being hurt.
Do we see a single like a Jonathan Taylor take an MVP? Like, there's no look what Brady did last week. If Brady lays another stinker today,
I mean, he's definitely got to come into the conversation then.
Yeah, I mean,
does anyone know off the top of their head the last time a non-quarterback won MVP?
You knew who else's name is going to get thrown right back into this conversation now?
I'm thinking it's like 2002, like Tomlinson or Marshall Faulk or someone. I think it's been a long time.
Into it.
Mahomes, if they get hot, they most definitely will. If Rodgers won that game yesterday, he put up 300 plus. Like he would have.
Oh yeah, his name would have been the favorite after this week, but he lost. So that's my only worry there.
The loss wasn't really on him, though. Did you guys think?
No, definitely not on him.
I mean, if they lose like 17-10,
looking at it now, Josh Allen already knocked back to second place. On DK, they have Brady at plus 350, Josh Allen plus 600, Rodgers, Stafford, and Dak plus 1,000, Herbert 12-1, Mahomes 12-1.
Oh, Brady's got that looking good after tonight. I mean, we said that last week, and then he laid the stinker.
Yeah, and then he lays us an egg.
Yeah, let's see how that goes against his nemesis, the Giants. All right, let's move on. We'll go to the recap a little quicker. We're having a lot of fun, though. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining in. The Dolphins and the Jets will be quick on this one. The Dolphins, my only question is like, I mean, you only beat the Jets by 7. I almost want to downgrade them, right? Because should they have won by more points?
I don't have them high up anyway. I'm not a big Tua guy. I'll say though, Joe Flacco. I mean, is he the best quarterback in New York right now?
Better than Danny Dimes?
No, I mainly I meant in the Jets, but I mean even like, hey, Flacco put up 291, 2 touchdowns with that squad.
Yeah.
I mean Elijah Moore, he got the ball to his playmakers, which Zach Wilson and Mike White. I mean Mike White did one game, but he got them involved. 8 for 141 and a touchdown for Elijah Moore. Like you never would have saw that with Zach Wilson right now or Mike White. So it was cool to see Flacco do something.
I wanted to see Mike White again. Tyler, any more thoughts on this game and we'll move on?
No, I mean, that was just a battle of 2 bottom 5 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, so didn't pay much attention to that one either. Even though
neither did Red Zone. I think he came on like twice. Yeah. Michael Carter had a couple nice runs that we saw, right?
Yeah, they showed to his deep ball and then I think one other highlight.
To Matt Collins, yeah.
All right. This was a fascinating game, though, even though I don't know how much it really means in the grander scheme of things. The Saints lose to the Eagles. The Eagles here, right? I thought this team wasn't that good. They're sneakily on a little winning streak now. What's the final? There was 40. They put up 40 points against the Saints. The Saints put up 22 in the fourth to make it look more respectable than it really was. But let's be honest, the Eagles stomped these dudes. So it was one of those games where it's like, yeah, they got to win over the Saints with Trevor Siemian. So you're thinking, it's not that big a deal. But the way in which they won, right? This is like a couple weeks in a row. They've really they're not sneaking away with these. They are decisively beating the teams in all 3 phases of the football team. I mean, the NFC East isn't the best division, right? So they have an easier path down the stretch to kind of get rolling, right? Getting to play, the football team and the Giants here. Can the Eagles still contend in the NFC East?
I think they can. I mean, I know I'm more bullish on Jalen Hurts than most, but when you run the ball 50 times in a game, like that's how you win football games. They have to account for Jalen Hurts' legs. Got Miles Sanders back. He looks good, 16 for 94. Jordan Howard, somehow I did not expect him to have a reassurance, resurge, whatever the right word
Resurgence.
is. Resurgence. Thank you. I knew none of those were right, but you knew what I was trying to say. 10 for 63. He's looked good recently. They got guys in the backfield. If they pound the rock and Jalen Hurts has the legs to give defenses problems, like you said, it's not a great division. I still lean the Cowboys, but what? Amari's out this week. CeeDee Lamb, that concussion, I doubt he plays this week. Like they're getting banged up too. I think they're in it, but I still lean the Cowboys in the NFC East.
Right, Cape. He actually lives in Philadelphia, and he's a lot of fun. We have more fun probably talking the NBA, but I'm glad to see him in the chat. And he says Eagles will be in the playoffs. Get on the bandwagon. So there you have it. Our guy Pocket QB always here, hanging out and giving us great information. Talking about Darius Slay has a concussion, likely out the next game. And Sign Collectibles is letting us know if you do believe that, you can grab a yes plus 200 right now. If you think this is the sell high time, no is just a simple minus 172 right now. Brandon McNair is asking, we're about to do the Monday Night Football. We're going to talk about 3 or 4 more games. We'll do the afternoon slate and get straight into that. So Perfect Rotation says Eagles are still trash and telling us to stop.
Leave that comment up there because that's where my take's going because I still don't believe in this goddamn team.
All right, let's hear it.
I just can't get behind it. Yes, they ran the ball down this team's throat, which I said they couldn't, and they just proved me wrong right there. Jalen Hurts threw for less than $150. Yes, he didn't turn over the ball. He was sacked 3 times, but I just can't get behind this team. If they're going to make the playoffs, it's got to be them winning the division because the Rams have a wild card spot locked up or the Cardinals, one of those 2.
Okay.
So that leaves 2 spots in the NFC. We pencil in the Vikings for one of them? Probably.
Yeah.
That leaves 1 spot for the Saints, the Niners, the Eagles, Carolina, Washington. I'm putting the Niners in that spot.
Okay. All right. I think I can go either way there. The Niners did get a win over the Eagles there earlier in the season, so that might affect.
No, I could have to eat my words in the Eagles do get in, but I just don't see it.
I mean, that's what happens. We come on the show and we give takes about every single team, right? So we're not going to be right every time. Richie says, no way the NFC East gets 2 playoffs teams in. Brandon
No.
saying that the Giants beat the Eagles twice, and Ryan
He's
Cape usually
been there.
he's anti-Philly sports, but he's on the bandwagon. He says, "Don't
I
hate
hate
Tyler
to
on this team."
shit on the Eagles like that, but when you brought up his first comment with the Eagles in the playoffs, I had to keep the grin off my face because I knew where I was going with that.
And Beanair is also a Giants guy, so I would throw his comment right out the window too. That's a little biased. A little bias there, Beanair. I know you.
Well, no, we're having some fun with it. So yeah, keep them coming, guys. Let's move on and talk about your 49ers, right? Man, for a guy that everybody hates and everyone wants to trade, Jimmy Garoppolo got another win, right? I mean, he may not throw the prettiest ball, right? But he's getting it done here, and they're now 5-5. And they beat the football team, who I don't know. I mean, what do you say about them, right? Oh no, they beat the Jaguars. I'm sorry. Almost the same level of ineptitude, but the 49ers actually stomped the Jaguars. It wasn't even close. I actually had it on one of my TV screens the whole time. I don't even know why. I don't know. So let's talk about it. You think that the 49ers have a better shot than the Eagles, Tyler? Tell us why.
I mean, we talked about Jonathan Taylor being a stud earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Debo's a goddamn stud.
Yeah.
He led the team in rushing yards. I mean, he didn't do much in the passing game this game because Kittle and Ayuk finally showed up. Kittle's finally getting healthy again. But the thing that irritated me about this game spread, I know you had it on your TV, so you probably saw it the couple times they got down in the red zone. They would get inside the 5-yard line, and they do the same thing the Steelers do. They go into shotgun. It's like you're a running team with a great offensive line. If anything, just hand it to Juszczyk and just let him go right behind the offensive line. He'll get right in there for a few yards, but they managed to get the touchdowns to Kittle right there, but they got to start running the ball inside the 5-yard line when they're that close to the end zone.
Yeah, I was impressed with the way the Chargers were able to use the running attack in the red zone last night. And maybe the 49ers should be doing that as well. Let's not even talk about the Jaguars. Anything about the 49ers, and we'll move on to the next game title.
Debo's a stud. I agree with Tyler on that. I mean, they beat the Jaguars, who are trash. Jimmy G, I mean, I'm still not a Jimmy G guy, less than 200, but yeah, 2 touchdowns.
But don't you think he's kind of got that Alex Smith feel where he wins?
I think we're used to Jimmy G not throwing for like a ton of yards by now, though. Like, he's just the game manager. Just let all the skilled players do the work.
He's a great manager. Like, if I had an office supply store, I would let Jimmy G manage my store.
I probably agree. To be a starting quarterback in 2021 on my team and trying to get to the playoffs, I'm going to take a couple other guys. I don't think they get there. I think they beat the Jaguars. I was sad about Jeff Wilson, who was very popular in DFS. He had the opportunities, 19 carries, but 2.6 yards a carry does not get it done. Deebo Samuel's a stud, though, 100%.
Yeah, what a great performance. And let's go to the football team. I kind of ruined that transition earlier, but now it will probably be done. The Washington football team get the win against the Panthers. I personally was disappointed. You know, we used the word resurgence earlier, title. I was hoping for the Cam Newton to create a resurgence within the Panthers because I love the storyline. I love the swag that he brings to the sideline. And I mean, he's just a unique athlete, 6'6", so fast. And regardless of his accuracy, the guy's still got a cannon, but he can't get it done. His old coach, Ron Rivera, beats him. That puts, I think, both teams in an interesting position. Football team 4-6, so I mean they'd have to win out, but they're not dead. And now the Panthers dropped to 5-6. I think this loss was huge for them in order to get to the playoffs. I didn't really have specific questions for this game, but you guys can go ahead and just talk about it. It's a little disappointing. Cam can get it done. Maybe that was just a 1-week bump. Start with you, Tyler. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I thought Cam played fine. He was 21 for 27, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 for 46 on the ground with the touchdown. I think you got to give the ball to McCaffrey more than 10 times on the ground. That's just too little. He was 10 for 59. He was getting at chunk plays, 7 for 60 through the air. Like, that's fine, but he should be in the 20 touch mark on the ground, dominate time of possession there. Their defense let them down a little bit, though, and that's supposed to be the staple for the Panthers. 6 for 13, the football team was on 3rd down, 2 for 2 on 4th downs. Heineke was just balling when they needed him to make big plays and keep the sticks moving. So I'm not blaming Cam at all. I thought he did bring good energy to him. I loved his touchdown where he went to the logo, did a little TO stuff. I mean, he brings fun to it. I think the team likes it. Defense, I thought, should have played a little better. That kind of costed them there. So I still like the Panthers, what I saw from them. Give the ball to McCaffrey more, though.
No, and you're right. The big acquisition, Stephen Gilmore, did not come through as Terry McLaurin, right? Was just too much for the team, right? And when you acquire Gilmore, that's your thing. If I can take away McLaurin, this team doesn't have a lot to go at me with. But McLaurin was able to win that battle, and I thought that was the key to the game. Tyler, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he did win the battle, but they won it more on the ground in this game. McLaurin had 105 yards receiving. He had a long ball of about 50 yards. Mm-hmm. Heineke only threw for $180. Right. So he didn't really do much else through the air. They ran for close to 200 yards on the ground in this game. So they just established the run, and then the moment they went play action, the defense bit, and that let McLaurin get deep on him a couple times.
Right.
But I agree with Tyler. You definitely got to get the ball to McCaffrey more. I mean, we see Jonathan Taylor touch the ball almost 35 times in that game. You got to get the ball to McCaffrey, maybe not 35 times, but at least 25. Like, the dude's got to have the ball in his hands. Let him just make plays. But this was a weird game. I didn't get any money involved just because of the Ron Rivera factor on the other side and knowing the Carolina team inside and out. Mm-hmm. So it didn't surprise me to see them pull off the win, but just a weird game all around.
All right, let's talk about the Bengals and the Raiders. My favorite team. It looks like the season could be over. This could just be, like the swirl when you flush the toilet, right? I mean, it just feels like the swirl of the downturn. I think it might be too much to ask, and I know that the Ruggs thing was emotional, but I've also contended that is so schematic as well. The offense was designed to use him to grab the safety help. Now it's just too easy to key on the guys underneath. There's no room for Jacobs. Waller's getting doubled. Renfro can't beat guys, when he gets all the attention of the defense. Cincinnati Bengals, it was a great bounce back opportunity, and they took advantage of it. What were your thoughts, Title?
They finally gave Joe Mixon the football, which, again, I've been advocating for a lot this year. So, you need to establish the run, especially when you have really good running backs to open everything up. They couldn't stop Joe Mixon on the ground, so they kept giving him the football. Raiders, on the other hand, 13 points. I thought this was going to be a fun game. I thought both teams are going to put up points. I thought Vegas was going to be able to move the football. I don't know, spread. They started the year really good. I was impressed with them, but it's not looking good over there now.
I mean, Title, I'd be mad, but they do this every year, right? It's like kind of expected,
you're
right?
Used to it. You said that too kind of earlier in the year too. So
they're almost like when I work at the bar. There's certain girls that always flirt with you at the beginning of the night, right? At the end of the night, they're nowhere to be seen. That's that's kind of how I feel about the Las Vegas Raiders. Tyler, let me ask you a particular question. So I think they need to blow it up. I was a big fan of Mike Mayock, but I mean, it just hasn't worked out. Obviously, the new coach might be popular, but just not getting it done. I think they need a new general manager. I think they need a new coach. But my question for you, Tyler, do they need a new quarterback?
I say no still, because I just think you need a different offensive coordinator in there, and then you'll be able to use him to his strengths. Mm-hmm. And it's just he lost one of his better weapons that stretched the field. Waller finally had his big game in this one. And just like you said, they're not getting Renfro open. So they got to fix some pieces on the team, but I don't think Derek Carr is the problem.
What do you think, Title? Should they move on from Carr?
No, I'm with Tyler. I'm a believer in Derek Carr. I mean, the leadership in general, but even as a football, I believe in his arm. I think it's the pieces around him, but I think he can succeed in a good system around him.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think the highest ranked defense he's ever had. It's like for the last 4 years. So besides the 2016 run, they've been 28th or lower in defense for all his tenure there. So it's pretty tough to win. So just wanted to get your thoughts. Obviously a little bit emotional. So I was ready to blow everyone up, right? And just there's not that many quarterbacks to draft this year. So that could be another feather in his cap for a reason to bring him back, because I don't think you start with the new quarterback this year. Probably want to wait till you get to that 2023 draft. The Cardinals and the Seahawks. My main takeaways from this one is we talked about it with the Ravens, right? I think it's a sign of a good team to be able to win with their backups. That means great coaching and a deep roster. We saw the Cardinals get it done yesterday. Now, hey, are you saying, hey, this shows the Cardinals are really good? Or does this say, hey, this Seahawks dynasty is over, right? I mean, it's like they might need a complete overhaul. What were your thoughts, Title?
Yeah, I mean, what I saw when the Seahawks against the Packers last week, I completely jumped off this offense and stuff in general. So I think the Seahawks just aren't what they once were. As far as the Cardinals, I mean, it's 2021, right? Colt McCoy's throwing for 328 and 2 touchdowns. Zach Ertz is 8 for 88 with 2 touchdowns. AJ Green 4 for 78. Like,
Turn back the clock, huh?
What is going on? AJ Green, Zach Ertz, Colt McCoy just broke this. Like
that was like my Madden team in 2013 title.
Yeah, exactly. Peyton Hillis on the cover, running into it. Like, what is going on? I mean, on the road, Coleman. Like, yeah, I mean, this Cardinals team's good, but this Seahawks team, I gave up on them after the Packers. I don't know.
They have like 4 good players. They got like 2 good wide receivers, Jamal Adams and Russell Wilson, and like that's it.
Yeah, so. and Russ still is banged up. I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's 100% either. I think do you think he demands out again? Last season, I don't think I'd want to go back there if I was him.
No, I would try and get a new situation. Maybe go. I would try and figure. Yeah,
maybe the rumors before the season were true when he was trying to get out beforehand.
He was. Yeah. They just wouldn't deal him because they knew how bad they would be.
Yeah, I think he's definitely.
And then
after this year.
if you think about it, it was smart of them to wait a year, right? Because they didn't want to get a top pick in this draft with no quarterbacks. So you'd rather deal him this offseason, and there's way better prospects in 2023 draft.
Yeah, very
so at least if you take them last year, then you can, go 3-14 or whatever it would be now and be up high and maybe be able to actually get his replacement after only 1 year of ineptitude. So pretty rough down there for Seattle Seahawks. I know they got a really rabid fan base, and a guy, Chris Brady, that watches the show and messages with me. He's a big fan. So that must be tough for those guys to watch. Let's talk about what was the main event of the afternoon, though. And that was the Chiefs. Hey, let's use that word again. Title resurgence. Only 19 points. But, hey, their defense held this Dallas offense to only 9. Now, we can say Cooper's out, but Lamb played half the game. And I don't know. The receivers didn't help him out, right? There was some drops there, even when CD was still in there. But this offense looked inefficient. Also, Zeke rolled his ankle. I wonder how much that affected him because that looked bad. I didn't think he was coming back in after I saw that replay. That was one, even sitting at home, I'm 1,000 miles away. Ooh, ow. Yeah. Ooh, I mean, my ankle hurts just watching that. So I don't know. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on the takeaways. You know me, I'm down to overreact. And crown them and throw the Cowboys out. Oh, title. And the last thing I will say is, and I'm going to feed you here. I mean, wasn't that another display of how bad Mike McCarthy is? Watching him, the way he bungled the end of that first half.
I mean, we see it every single week. There's things you can point out about this clown. Like,
yeah, it's just terrible.
What are how did anybody even give him a job after what they saw with the Packers? Rodgers, just has to be laughing. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. Like the Cowboys, I still think they win the division. Like I was saying, the Eagles, I think the -200 not to make the playoffs is about right. But yeah, they're battling injuries. They're lucky was Zeke. Like that injury, I was with you. I was shocked to see him come back in. Tony Pollard's still a complete stud back there, though. I think they got to get him involved more. Got to run the ball more than 20 times a game. I mean, 16 carries between Zeke and Pollard. That's not going to work. They still have Cedric Wilson, who I think is a good wide receiver that in the short term can still produce. Dak Prescott. They get Vegas next week at home, Thanksgiving. Like I think they win that game, even though they are a little banged up and they have more time along.
Yeah, because it's almost like a bye getting the Raiders the way they're playing, right?
Exactly. Like, yeah, you can't get a better situation than a long weekend.
Back, right?
Yeah. So like they have that going for them. So if it was like another tough team, I mean, 7-4 and 8-3 are definitely 2 very big records at this point. So that's helping that they get. I'm booking them for a win. I still like this team. They got to get healthy for sure. But yeah, at the end of the day in the playoffs, like close games, they're a huge coaching disadvantage. And sometimes it's all it takes where that's how you lose football games. Not like the Chiefs did great. Like it was just a defensive battle. But we talked about it all year in the beginning of the year. We're on the show every time talking about the Chiefs defense. And we got nervous for a little while. But we always said, like, we've seen this story play out. They always find ways to adjust. Seems like they found the defense has gotten into its own a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely did. And I'll tell you what, Tyler. So we talked about it on Friday. I like the Cowboys. I wasn't sure. I placed the bet on Sunday afternoon. And talk about buyer's remorse, man. They cut to McCarthy looking on the sideline, looking like an extra in South Park, right? I mean, doesn't he just do? And I'm just, I can't believe I bet McCarthy over Andy Reid.
Yeah,
I should just given the money to a charity, right? I mean, I could have helped some children, but instead I made that stupid play. Tyler, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was a boring game from what we all expected. We thought we were going to get a ton of points.
It helped me in DFS. I will say, like,
I'm glad it helped
that
you.
game, right? Yeah.
I had Kelsey.
You stacked that game out, Tyler.
I was about to say, I'm glad it helped you. I was already buried before the game started, and I just watched myself get buried even more. So that was a positive. But
hey, in DFS, if you're gonna lose, it's gonna lose. Like if you get the same amount for almost making it,
before that game even kicked off, because you looked on the board, you got one game that had a total that went to 69, one that went to 60. It's like, yeah, this is dead. But moving Chris Jones into the middle for Kansas City's made a difference, and he's finally healthy. Now Frank Clark's getting pressure off the outside.
Yeah, he made a big play early when the game was still mattering, and that strip sack with Dak was huge, and that was the old Frank Clark.
Yep, and then I think losing Cooper before the game was big, and then losing CeeDee in the game was also a lot bigger because these backup receivers, I think, stink.
Gallup, I like Cedric Wilson.
10 times for
he had some drops though that were painful if you were a backer.
Wilson drops it. Noah Brown drops it. Like they're all scrubs behind them two guys. Them two guys are so far ahead of them guys that they just look so bad once they have to take all the reps.
The thing about CeeDee too is they doubled him a lot of the first half.
They gave him the Tyreek Hill treatment. They just bracketed him. Put one guy deep, keep one guy short, and just don't let him get the ball. So they took a page out of watching what happened to them the first 6 weeks with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, so that was, I would say, it was an interesting game, and like you said, it was kind of anticlimactic, right? After you're waiting for it all morning, and then it kicks off, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fireworks, it's gonna be points, and then it goes under by like 30 points. Imagine the alt unders if you hit like an alt under like 33.5
plus 800.
Yeah. So, Tyler, I'll let you take away the end of this game here. The Chargers end up winning in a really tight game against the Steelers. I mean, what is this, 41 points in the fourth quarter? What were your thoughts on the game last night?
Yeah, I mean, that was ridiculous, that fourth quarter. But
crazy, yeah.
The Chargers lost a couple of guys in the secondary late in that game, and then all of a sudden their defense it looked like Moses parted the Red Sea. They just opened up, and the Steelers just started to put points on the board. Ben threw for almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Can't tell you the last time he's done that. They were actually, I mean, they didn't run the ball for shit this game. 12 attempts, 39 yards at a nice
right, and that was supposed to be the weakness. And it was like the joke I was thinking. I was like, oh, it's the stoppable force versus the movable object with the offensive line of the Steelers, which is so bad going against the terrible run defense of the Chargers. But yeah, they were able to get it done.
Speaking of that. I always touch back on this with everyone in Pittsburgh that wants to chant youth for this tight end they drafted in the second round because they just needed a blocking tight end. Yeah. You want to know who went 3 picks after him, spread? Creed Humphrey, a top 5 graded lineman in the league, plays center. You want to know what I watched all last night? Our center get blown off the ball, but we get to chant youth when he catches the ball.
So Steelers fans not happy. Where are we at with Tomlin?
No, Steelers fans love him. Yinzers love him. I hate the pick.
You know what's awesome about this season is with that tie that Tomlin can go 8-8 again to save the winning record, because otherwise it would have been impossible. Title, what were your thoughts about an exciting Sunday night game? Right, that was the game that I thought that the Cowboys Chiefs was going to look like. Right, and we got it on Sunday, not in the afternoon.
I'm glad we got it Sunday night. That's for sure. It was a lot of fun. What's the record for the most points in a quarter? Was that?
I don't know. It's got to be up there though.
It's got to be up. It's got to be up there. I mean, what a football game! Austin Eckler breaks the slate. If you had him in the captain, you absolutely won. Yeah. It was a really fun game. I mean, Herbert. I liked what I saw. The Steelers, Deontay Johnson. Like, it was just overall a very fun football game. The defenses couldn't stop anybody. The offenses had their way. I mean, Steelers got the ball in good field position sometimes too, but I don't know. It felt like the Chargers were going to lose that game, as I saw Big T tweeted it too. But I grew up my whole life watching the Chargers blow really close games, missing game-winning field goals, just finding ways to lose every way possible. And it felt like that was going to happen again. But Mike Williams exploding. I didn't really have too much to take away. I'm a big Chargers guy. I have the bet to win the Super Bowl and stuff. I'm not loving how that is their defense. You can't let up 37 to the Steelers, but this is the offense that we know and love. I love this Chargers offense, everything about it.
Yeah, it was nice to see them get back on track, and I think they did it against a defense that we give a lot of respect to. So our guy Mikey, right, big Michael Jordan fan, right? He's sitting there, he's wearing Jordans right now, Jordan gear, Jordan hat, right? I mean, he loves the Hornets too. He says the only way to get it back tonight is to bet on the Giants. What are your guys' thoughts on the Monday Night Football game tonight? Let me see where the Lions currently are. Bookmaker logs you out if you don't stay active on it. So the Buccaneers are currently minus 10.5 on Bookmaker. Total is 49.5. The Giants are plus 420 on the money line. Title, what are your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, I'm not gonna bet any other way. Like, I'm just gonna do mainly DFS, but like I'd be shocked to see 2 back-to-back weeks of Tom Brady absolutely doing nothing. I think this is a very get right spot. I love Brady. I think Fournette has a good game on the ground too. You're not the guy to ask if you're looking for a Giants backer for being Aaron Mikey. That's for sure.
All right. He does it. Yeah. I figured I had to throw that in there. Actually, took 1 cent off, but it made it a lot more fun. I figured that would catch everyone's attention. Giants average 480 more yards with Saquon in there, and we got a plus 11 on the Giants here. Says for Rye Cape is his pick. What is your pick, Tyler?
They've lost 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Brady's played bad in both of them. They're getting a couple guys back in the secondary. The Bucs are smashing them tonight. Brady's throwing like 4 touchdowns. Yeah, they're commenting in the chat right there. Brady at home, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Book that tonight. Godwin's going to have a big game. Fournette's going to run all over this defense. They're going to blitz the hell out of Danny Dimes. He's going to get sacked like 5 times, turn over the ball at least twice. I'm thinking something like 38-13, 41-10, somewhere in there. They're just going to beat the hell out of them spread.
Title, something we didn't factor in. Brandon says it's a bad line because they didn't factor in that he will be in attendance tonight. How much does that adjust your power rating there with Brandon McNair being in attendance, Title?
Yeah, that might be minus 17 alt line Tampa now that I know that one.
All right, a lot of fun. Yeah, Mikey thinks they win by 25. Glad to have the active chat today. So, all right, you guys both. Title was kind of staying away. Tyler likes laying it here. And did you either of you have any thoughts on the total before we look into maybe making a lineup?
I lean over.
I'd lean over too, because I think Tom Brady moves the football.
To touch back on Title's question about that fourth quarter in the Steelers matchup, though, that wasn't the highest scoring fourth quarter. It was a matchup between the Lions and the Bears in 2007. They put up 48 points in the fourth quarter, and the Lions came back from a 31-point deficit to win.
Wow!
What year was that?
2007.
How many onside kicks?
Was Stafford there then?
No,
that's 14 years ago. Yeah. Who would have been on that team? That's great trivia. We'll have to look that up.
Who was it? John Kitna? Isn't that?
Here, let me see. I'll pull up the box score on them and see.
Isn't it John? I knew there was a Kitna.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Brian Reese was the quarterback for Chicago. Yeah, John Kitna, the quarterback for.
Good knowledge, Title. I like that. That's an NFC North knowledge. All right, Title. Why don't we start and we'll talk about tonight's game and we'll build a little mini core and that will give Tyler time to review all the props as we're bringing up some of these players. So I pulled it up. I'm in the little the $20 contest where you can win $1 million, all that fun stuff, and I'm on DK right now. How are we going to start attacking this? Who are your options for captain, and who do you think is the best idea?
Well, so Tom Brady is going to be in all my lineups. The question is captain or flex, and we'll come back to that because I don't even know for sure. Obviously, on DraftKings, the salary is 1.5x the captain, so it actually matters.
Tom Brady's at 16.8 in the captain spot.
Yeah, so
11-2 in flex.
So I also want to pair him with someone. I want to pair him with Godwin. He's 9.4. Mike Evans is 10.2. Yes, Godwin's going to be way higher owned, but he just fits the PPR scoring way better. He played way more snaps than I expected last week, so I'm expecting that he's a full go. I want to pair Tom Brady and Chris Godwin. So those are the first two I'm plugging in. Maybe I'm going to go because once we build it out, like if you have the money, I like Tom Brady captain. But 9,400 and 11-2, like that's a huge difference. And Chris Godwin fits the captain. I'd be perfectly fine with that. So you can get an upgrade somewhere else. Kickers have absolutely been printing in Showdown. Ryan Suckup at 4,200. That's going to be my third core. I think Tampa Bay absolutely just moves the ball down the field. I think the Giants, they'll stall them out once in a while. If you're getting a lot of opportunities, I think Ryan Suckup for 4,200 makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
We're talking on this Giants side, man. I mean, it's tough. Saquon Barkley at 7.8 is what stands out to a lot of people. I expect he'll be one of the highest owned Giants because Danny Dimes 9.6. I think that's fine, but if I'm going to go Tom Brady, Godwin, even Fournette at 10K, like Fournette and Danny Dimes 9.6, 10K, I'll be similar exposed to both of them. Neither of them are going to be a core play for me, though. I'm going to be, you know me, Spread. I like going like the 4-2 underdog route and stuff like that. I did it yesterday as well. I just can't make a case to do that in this one.
Right.
So I probably will be trying to save like Darius Slayton. He's 3.2K on the Giants. You have to play at least one Giant, but Slayton's going to be running routes. He's going to be on the field. 3.2K in a script that I expect him to be playing from behind. I think that makes some sense. Definitely not going to go any of the defenses. A Graham Gano at 4K, I don't hate, but I like to suck up way more because they're down 21 or something. Like they're not going to be settling for field goals. If you think it's a blowout script, which I do, I think Ronald Jones, 1,400. He's going to get carries in a blowout script. If they're even in a close game, he'll mix in once in a while. You hope he can break a little bit. You don't need much for 1,400. Yesterday, for a while, we actually saw a $200 player, which is the Stone minimum. He had 1.7 points. I don't even know who the guy was. 1.7, 200. That lineup was in first place for like almost the whole game until the last touchdown. But like that just shows like if you jam in all the studs, 1.7 could be enough if the game's really concentrated and it just is a Fournette, Brady, Godwin game or something like that. So I think that's always viable. In my core, though, I'm going to go Brady. I'm going to go Godwin, and I'm going to go Suckup. I really like the Tampa side. Slayton, good value. Slayton, good value. Saquon, I don't mind. I think he's going to be pretty popular, though, so I probably will end up underweight. We know the Buccaneers are pass funnel, so I like the receivers a little more.
All right, let me ask you one question, and then we'll move on. So money's not a concern. It's 7K to 6,800. If you only had one spot left, would you rather have Galladay or Tony trying to fill out this Giant side?
Galladay or Tony?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, let me check.
Good question, huh? Good question, huh? I stumped you. I stumped the expert.
You did. It's literally I have pretty much a coin flip. Like I don't. Tyler, do you have a lean? Like I really don't have a strong lean on that at all.
Those are two guys. Like, could we just take Evan Ingram instead? Because like those two guys are bound to get hurt in this game. Tony's been hurt every game this year.
Evan Ingram's 6,600. So yeah, I could. I mean,
I personally
think I've talked about with Kyler
more.
Murray on this show a lot, and it could factor right in with Kadarius Toney. I don't like betting on players the same size as me.
So then Galladay, then you have your answer for I like Galladay.
Yeah, we'll take Galladay. He's like 6'4" and like 200 some pounds. We'll take that guy.
All right. He's bigger than Tyler. We will take him. So there we go. We got a nice little core. Hopefully you guys listen. But he liked Brady, Godwin, and Suckup. That gets you started, and you still have plenty of money. A lot of different ways to approach this. Like you said, do you run Godwin in the captain? Do you run Brady in the captain spot? You know, who do you run it back with? Do you run two quarterbacks? So a lot of fun things. And, of course, you'll be getting more in-depth analysis later today on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, and you'll have access to these scores if you become a member of runpuresports.com. Head on over, use the promo code GETBETS to become a member of the bet side where Tyler and I reside, giving out the winners. The props score with D has been on an absolute soccer heater, so we got to make sure we point that out. Joey Work still on vacation with all the money that he made, all the credit scores he's raising. Suze Orman is proud of the way that he's helping people improve their financial futures. And, of course, JJ and the Sports Keg, you know, the two pillars there of Run Pure Bets, of course, are bringing winners. And Jay has been going live. You'll get access to all the free and premium shows if you become a member. All right, Tyler, we've got that out of the way. Let's go ahead. Actually, let's ask the question. He's asked a couple times, and we really got it.
The answer is yes.
Okay,
the answer is
cool.
yes.
That's all. Yeah, he was patient, but he got it. Okay.
If you scroll up 2 comments above that spread, you can put that one on the screen too. He needs
Jeff Garcia?
touchdowns. No, he needs 3 touchdowns to break the record.
I think that's what we were trying to figure out who the Lions
moment he gets
was.
that second one, Bruce Arians is going to draw up the scheme where they get all the way down the field, and he throws the slant inside the 5-yard line to Mike Evans. Yeah. So he's definitely going to throw 3 touchdowns tonight. If you have access to FanDuel, I don't hate Tom Brady to throw 3+ touchdowns. Tampa Bay wins at +130.
Ooh,
you could even bet Tom Brady to throw 4+ touchdowns at +340. Mm-hmm. So I don't hate either of those. I don't hate Fournette's rushing prop at 64.5 because the moment they get up, they're going to run the ball a bit more. He could blow that number out of the water and get up over 100. And then another one I like, it's on the defensive side. Devin White over 9.5 tackles. The Giants aren't going to be throwing tons of balls out to these receivers. It's going to be a lot across the middle and Barkley running the ball early. Mm-hmm. Devin White's going to be in on 9 of those tackles easily. Okay. He's everywhere on the field.
So our guy Mikey, he says that Saquon might be worth a look. He says the Bucs can't stop pass catching backs. Do you agree with that, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, they've had some trouble. They're getting guys back on the defense the other night, so I wouldn't take what you've seen beforehand into much here until you see it tonight. So that might be one you want to wait for live.
All right.
We seen last year this defense was bad, and then they got their guys back, and then they locked down everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. The Pocket QB says, why not throw Gronk in on third TD? Are we getting Gronk today? I swore I saw him on the ticker as
he's going to play, but I'm not sure how healthy he is.
Oh, so he is going to play?
Yeah.
But AB's out for sure, right? Antonio Brown's out?
But Scotty Miller's back, so they'll have him in the slot some.
Is that even that good?
I mean, little
he
slot.
He was good for like 4 games, right?
Hey, this might be his one game.
Yeah. All right. And Josh is letting us know he's active.
He's 200 if you want him on Showdown, but I'll be avoiding him.
Who is?
Scotty Miller.
He's only 200?
He's min price.
You can get more than 1.7 points out of him.
I think he gets to run over Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, you can get 1 point. Like, who else is down there? There's Colin Johnson on the other side. He might get a little burn. Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson.
At 200, it's worth a punt because that allows you to get Mike Evans and Godwin in your lineup, right? I mean, you can run the full Buck. Would I be crazy if I had Godwin, all 3 of the receivers, Godwin, Evans, and Miller? I mean, is that just like,
No, but then you have to captain Tom Brady because then you're expecting that it's kind of spread out and stuff. But no,
what if I just take Brady, Fournette, Evans, Godwin, and just come back with like Ingram, praying to God he gets some garbage time throws?
There you go.
Good. He'll get some red zone targets too. So, all right, guys, this was a lot of fun. Hey, thanks. This was a really active chat. So I'm glad you guys hung with us, even though I was running late today. My thanks to the guests for going ahead and putting up with my hectic schedule. My bathroom will be remodeled soon. I will be able to take showers in my home rather than traveling to take a shower, which does slow me down a bit in the morning. But thank you so much. Title, anything else you want to let everyone know? All the great content you're producing for Run Pure Sports before we sign off?
Got the Hardwood Show at 3:45 or 4:45 Eastern. 10-game slate should be fun. I take it you guys going live today too, like you usually do.
Yeah, we'll go. So we'll go live at 3:30. I got Bobby with us, and Bobby's such a fantastic resource. I think he's kind of all the coordinators, kind of underrated with all the knowledge that he brings and his ability to go ahead and beat these slates. So real excited to have Bobby on. He's our Monday guest. But Title, we're not letting you off the hook when this NFL season ends, right? I'm trying to just slot you right in there, just like Bo Jackson, right? Cross training.
I'll be here.
So yeah, we'll be doing that at 3:30, and they'll be going live at 4:45. So guess what? You guys got NBA content pretty much. If you're on the West Coast, it's all afternoon. I start at 12:30, and it's going to go up till lock. How do you become a member? How do you do that? You head on over to runpuresports.com, use the promo code GetBets. That way, so Title, you're going to be able to see him for free, right? And you're going to be in the chat, bringing the good mojo. But the final countdown with JSU, Big T, Holden, K. Fallick, a draft cheat, right? They all are rotating. It's always a good core, usually headlined by JSU. He seems to be the guy kind of leading that show, and as he should, because I would say out of all the coordinators, Title, and I'm not trying to say anything about bad about any of the other guys, but he's the quickest at getting this information, right? When we get news at 3:45 and the slate locks at 4 West Coast time, he's able to hey, this is where you can pivot to, right. I think Travis is great at planning the way he does it. Right, Travis plans it all out.
Yeah.
JSU, you can just hit him with just some random news that we didn't expect, and he's going to tell you where to pivot. So that's why that final countdown is such a valuable tool in order to cash making winning DFS NBA lineups. Tyler, are you going to be back with me at 12:30, or are you just doing NFL until tomorrow?
No, I'll be on.
All right, so we will have Tyler at 12:30, or 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. We'll have Bobby Gomes. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That way, if we're running late, you get the notification right when we go live. But I do not expect to be running late. We got all the errands taken care of this morning. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.